किसी थड़ा किया मित्र सुत नाल फाई, किसी थड़ा किया कुड़म सके नाल जवाई। हुक्म श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब पेज 366 अंग 366। एक ओंकार सतगुरु प्रसाद। राग आसा कार दूजा महला चौथा। किसी थड़ा किया मित्र सुत नाल फाई, किसी थड़ा किया कुड़म सके नाल जवाई। किसी थड़ा किया सिकदार चौधरी, नाल अपने सुआई। हमारा तड़ा हर रिहा समाई। राग आसा कार सेकंड महला फोर्थ। In this Shabad, Guruji comments on the habit of worldly people to form alliances and factions with their rich or politically powerful friends and relatives, and tells us with whom he has formed his alliance and on whose support he depends. He says some have formed factions with their friends, sons or brothers, and some with their brother or sons-in-law. Some have formed faction with the village chief or headmen for their own selfish motives. But my grouping is only with that God who is pervading everywhere. Stanza 1. हम हर्ष्यों थड़ा किया मेरी हर टेक, मैं हर बिन पख थड़ा अवर न कोई। हाँ हर गुण गावा असंख अनेक रहाओ. Once again declaring that except God, he doesn't depend upon the support of any person, group or faction. Guruji says, "O my friends, I have made grouping with God and he is my only support. Except God, I have no other party or faction, and I keep singing his countless and millions of praises." 1 pause. जिनस्यों थड़े करे से जाहे, झूठे थड़े कर पछोताहे। थिर न रहे मन खोट कमाहे, हम हर्ष्यों थड़ा किया जिसका कोई समर्थ नाहे. Warning us about the consequences of forming factions with worldly people, Guruji says, they with whom people form factions ultimately depart from the world. Therefore, by forming these short-lived false factions, people repent in the end. They who make factions also do not live forever and therefore unnecessarily keep deceiving others. Consequently, I have formed faction only with God, whom no one can equal in power. ये सब थड़े माया मोह पसारी, माया को लूजै गावारी। जन्म मरै जुए बाजी हारी, हमरे हर थड़ा जय हल्त पल्त सब सवारी. Now Guruji tells us how these factions become the source of many evils. He says all these factions are the extension of the love of worldly riches and power. For the sake of worldly riches and power, uncivilized people keep clashing with each other. Therefore, they keep being born and dying. In this way, they have lost the game of human life in a gamble. But my faction is with God, who has embellished my life both in this and the next world. Stanza 3. कल युग में थड़े पंच चोर झगड़ाए, काम क्रोध लोभ मोह अभिमान वधाए। जिसनु कृपा करे तिस सत्संग मिलाए, हमरा हर थड़ा जिन्हें थड़े सब गवाए. Guruji, for going further into the reasons which give rise to these factions and factional fights, Guruji says, "O my friends, in this iron age, Kaljug, it is the 5 thieves working in the human mind, which make one form factions and conflicts. These 5 thieves increase lust, anger, greed, attachment, and pride in a human being. However, one on whom God shows his mercy, he unites that one with the company of saintly persons and ends all his or her involvements in factions. Therefore, my grouping is only with God, who has made me abandon all other worldly factions. Stanza 4. ਮਿਥਿਆ ਦੂਜਾ ਭਾਉ ਤੜੇ ਬਹਿ ਪਾਵੈ, ਪਰਾਇਆ ਛਿਦਰ ਅਟਕਲੈ, ਆਪਣਾ ਅਹੰਕਾਰ ਵਧਾਵੈ, ਜੈਸਾ ਬੀਜੈ ਤੈਸਾ ਖਾਵੈ, ਜਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਕਾਹਰ ਥੜਾ, ਧਰਮ ਸਭ ਸ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟ ਜਿਨ ਆਵੈ. Finally, Guruji advises us and says, "O my friends, accept God. False is the love of other worldly riches and power, which make human beings sit together and form factions. They make wild guesses about others' faults and, thinking themselves to be superior, expand their own ego. The end result is that as one sows, so does one reap. Because their opposing groups or factions think likewise, ultimately they fight and sometimes kill each other, and both parties get ruined. The faction of servant Nanak is with God and righteousness, with whose power one comes home after conquering the entire world." Stanza 5-2-54. The message of this Shabad is that we should remain away from forming any groups or factions and consider ourselves only belonging to the group of God and righteousness. We should support only that thought and that point of view which is based on truth, justice and the advice of our Guru. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Personal note: it is strange that although all holy places and particularly Gurdwaras should end all such groupings and factions, but we find maximum factional fighting there. The day this Shabad came as Vak or order of the day, that is a Hukumnama, we had a very serious factional fight in our monthly Kirtan, in which obscenities and fist fights were briefly exchanged. Even more ironic is that the main issue of contention was whether or not to build our own Gurdwara, which later was built and was the scene of many other serious fights in which blows were exchanged, beards plucked, shots fired, police called, and lots of money wasted in lawsuits. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. SGGS P 366. Thank you.